He played 8 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals. The Sandman.
It is caught. Touchdown Auburn! Sanders caught it! Touchdown Auburn! Touchdown Auburn!
Frank Sanders joins Calling All Sports.
You guys are hot.
Now on Fox Sports 910.
That's right, Frank Sanders now on the right Toyota guest line. Joins us each and every Monday. We're very appreciative for him to stepping aside from the golf course to give us a few minutes. What are you playing today, bud?
Honestly, man, you caught me outside the office. Once I get done with this interview, I'm going to head over to the Raven Golf Course and work on my wedge and driver game.
Oh, okay. So, are you going to hit some balls? I mean, you really, if you're Michael Block as a PGA professional, you only need to hit balls like once a week, and you can get to the top 15 in the PGA Championship. So, go hit some balls, man. Go hit some balls.
The guy says he hits a bucket of balls, and he only teaches 2 people a week. That's, and then to go out and play in the PGA event this past weekend, man, was absolutely crazy. You're talking about a guy that, honestly, man, has done well in the past PGA Championships. He's made it. Apparently, he has some game to qualify, but to do it under that distress, man, and to do it in that moment and the way he played, you can only tip your hat off to a guy like that, man. And I'm hoping one day I get to live that dream too.
Well, Frank, if you have the money he made, which is over $288,000, at $125 a lesson, that's 2,307 lessons that he had to give to make that kind of money. So you got to take some lessons. Take some lessons. It's a lot of lessons, Frank. Damn.
Apparently, that's the advice, right? Take the lesson.
Yeah, take a lesson. So, hey, of course, golf. We love talking golf with you, but some rumors swirling around with Deandre Hopkins today. He was on a podcast instead of being at OTAs and was asked his top 5 quarterbacks, and of course, Kyler wasn't one of them. But of course, that now leads us to all the rumors of him maybe being traded to some of those teams that the quarterbacks that play for those teams. You think he's going to be out? I mean, do you have a feeling that this is going to happen? It's just a matter of time?
I mean, when you hear your receiver does not necessarily name the quarterback he's played with over the last 2 years in Kyler Murray, you do kind of think that there's something, behind closed doors that he's kind of wanting to leave the scenario. I will use my example. I mean, when I was here, I went to Baltimore, and I ended up thinking I was going to play with some veteran quarterbacks, and I had them. Anthony Wright and Chris Redmond, journeymen not at the most, but guys who were, more likely backup quarterbacks, and then they finally got their opportunity. Once I got done with the season and Jamal Lewis rushed for 2,000 yards, I was like, Lord, I don't care if I come back here again.
Wow.
So I'm gonna take it in side with Andre. If DeAndre hasn't been happy, he doesn't think he's being used fully. He knows he only has a couple more seasons. 2 to 3 at best that he can really go out and just dominate in the right situation and scenario. I understand what he's saying. I think there is somewhere, I think there's some truth that he probably will be traded here in the near future.
Well, and they'd be doing him a favor because when you look at the quarterbacks of the Cardinals camp with McCoy, who's not participating, Kyler can't participate, but David Blount, Jeff Driscoll, and then Rook, Clayton Tune out of Houston. If you're a receiver, if you're one of those, even Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins, how excited can you be of what's to come down the road with those 4 individuals?
I wouldn't, honestly, I would not waste my reps with those guys because I know those guys are the guys I'll be playing with. I would do exactly what he's doing. I wouldn't show up to OTAs. They're voluntary, so we got to continue to stress that. Although this is a new offense and a new system and a new personnel, the young guys that are trying to make the team, they need to make the team. I do not need to be running reps with guys that I won't be catching balls from. So I'm okay with that, him not being OTAs. And if Hollywood Brown didn't show up, I'd be okay with that too, because these guys have established themselves as receivers that do not need to keep running curl routes for guys trying to figure out how to get the ball out of their hand much faster at NFL speed. They need to understand the system, the reps, and put themselves in a position where they can go out and prove to this coaching staff that they deserve to be in the top 3 quarterbacks that stays on this roster. Outside of that, I mean, I'm with DeAndre. I'm somewhere in Canada doing a whole bunch of things that I probably shouldn't be doing.
You know, and I got to tell you what, Frank, I mean, when you have all the starters, legitimate starters on our team, you can accomplish a lot in OTAs. And we had mini camps, many, many years ago, but we got a lot out of it here with so many different receivers and quarterbacks going out of it. What can they get out of the connection or timing or I don't know if I'd say communication or maybe continuity with the receivers and quarterbacks or just happenstance moving forward?
I mean, I'm gonna do a Charles Barkley. I'm equated to a girlfriend and your wife.
Nice. Okay.
If you dated a girl twice, but you wasn't married to her, she's not gonna do the same things your wife would do. That she would know exactly you needed because she was at your house all the time. That's your wife. Kyler Murray will be his wife, and he's not even there to perform with me. He doesn't know what I'm doing. So my girlfriend, they're going to give me 2 reps that might be good, but that won't be what I'll be dealing with in season. So that's just they don't need to be there, man. They don't.
3 minutes.
So done a wonderful job of parsing out practice rock. They don't have to practice like they used to practice. When we practiced, man, it was full on.
Sure.
Anything could really happen. You knew what you was getting. You knew what kind of mental reps and physical reps you were getting that was creating the continuity and the cohesiveness of a unit, offensively or defensively. Now these guys are in pass, they're in light pass, they're barely touching each other. They can only practice a certain amount of time. They can only get so many reps. They got there, and as a veteran, you can only get so many reps in the season. So right now, OTAs would be mental reps for these guys. They literally would not be practicing. And honestly, when I left the facilities, I didn't come to OTAs and stuff like that. I got so much more training, better training that I worked on when I was at other places. When I was actually going to Brett Fisher therapy, I went to Mac Newton, and those two people literally allowed my
2 minutes.
I learned so much more than I would have learned at the facility doing OTAs.
Amazing. All right, so Kyler's at the facility because he was standing on the field today during the OTA.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you then is, if this team just stinks, and there's a good chance that it might, when he's ready, do you let him play? Or because you're 1-9 when he comes back in ready to play, do you play him?
Jimmy B, they already 1-9. God dang.
Frank wants to know where you came with the one victory.
That's funny.
He wants to know where's that one victory at, Jimmy B.
Tell me so I can bet on it.
I got you, Frank. I got you, brother.
Oh,
Do you play him or
1 minute. 1 minute.
Oh, Frank.
Look, you have to play them because you're obligated to not just the one.
Yeah.
You're obligated to the other players that you brought in. You're obligated to the guys that are trying to find out what it feels like to be in the NFL. You're obligated to the fan base that if you could get better, then you bring the better on. You bring the better in, no matter what the scenario is. You never know what can happen in a season. If Kyler finished, they're 1-9, but then they go 8-0. The rest of 6-0 the rest of the season, and 7-0 the rest of the season, then you got to look at it and say, man, there's something we can build on from there, and then that in itself would be more advantageous than to watch this team go, 1-16, and that's too hard of a pill to swallow, not just for the players or the fans, but imagine the show y'all got to do when y'all come in every Monday after watching that.
Yeah. Oh, man. We're looking forward to it.
Hey, we were already cracking up where you were trying to find just one win. I was being generous.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God, man. Look, this team, there's a lot of promise here with a lot of potential, and we're going to wait on that. The good news is that the reports I'm hearing from inside the house when it comes to management and the way the organization seems like it's going. Monty, Mike, Coach Gannon, the atmosphere is totally different than it was the last couple of years. There seems to be a good cohesiveness in the offensive room and the defensive room. Johnathan is just walking through the building, man, greeting and meeting everyone and inspiring them to believe in what he's doing and what they want to do. So, I mean, behind the scenes, there's a lot of things that's taking place I know you guys have heard a little bit more that that there's NC is doing something and the atmosphere like it's changing.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't have all our pieces. That would look initially, that was good, but as a vet, to do what a veteran needs to do, which is to get his body ready for training camp and then the season. Just got to play it from there.